So once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you who are calling in from all over the world. Welcome, Grandmother Flordemayo. It's an honor to be with you here again. The blessing is so profound, I can't tell you, especially with our topic today, which is actually being able to virtually tour the path and see the temples that you've been in such gracious and hospitable care of there in San Antonio. I beg your pardon, Santa Fe. Just get the destination right. I mean, the location correct. But let's back up just a minute. Once again, I'm Sandy. I'm with the Charter for Compassion International. I'm with the Women and Girls sector. This is part of our every 20-day series, urgent call for the sacred feminine. And this all came about when Grandmother Flordemayo received a mandate that it was necessary to bring this message to a critical mass. The story of each, the story that's brought us this far along the journey of our 20-day series, you can find on our website. And you'll get a link to that as well. All of the recordings from all the previous calls are there, so you should find that very easily. And if you haven't seen all the calls or heard them, I recommend you do so, because Grandmother's wisdom is profound, and every 20 days we get even more of it. So I just feel myself personally filling up with more gratitude than I know what to do with. Today again is so very special, because the path is a very profound place that we're actually getting not just a tour of, but Grandmother's going to be sharing with us the whole story behind it. So Grandmother, would you like to welcome us and perhaps start us off in a way that you'd like?
Sure. Thank you so very much. I want to thank everybody in the four directions. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It is a great honor this morning to be here with you. And we're going to be taking a virtual tour through photographs of the 40 acres. Ideally, my thought was that I was going to have my iPad going, and I was going to be walking the grounds, and I was going to be sharing with you, but I'm not quite there yet technically. So it'll be something that will happen in the future. But for the moment, I just want to, thank you for tuning in. I want to wish everybody much blessings on this beautiful, beautiful moment wherever you are. It is all hours of the day and evening wherever we are right now around the globe. Much blessings to you and much love and light. So I'll wait for Sandy to start.
Okay, let's go. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you all. And if you are calling in from a telephone, which we can't really tell how many of you are calling in from a phone, you will get the recording of this, but I'm sure Grandmother's words will resonate deeply with you, and you can imagine in your mind's eye what you are seeing. Here we go. And thank you for your patience. And here we go. We're going to be starting with the Temple of the Golden Child. Grandmother.
Yes. This beautiful temple came about in 2010. It was an existing little building, is known in the area as a hogan. It's an octagonal building. This is what we're looking at right now, is the painting of the Golden Child that Manouche Galguer painted. This is the baby still inside the earthen egg with crystalline substance all around it. She made this beautiful painting after meditating and getting permission from the baby. The baby appeared to her, and she was able to do this beautiful painting. The painting itself is quite large. The beauty of this vision was given to me while at a conference in March of 2010, as I mentioned. There were a gathering of 140 people from all over the globe of different denominations and way of prayer. And it was the actual conference started on the 17th of March, and I had this vision on the 19th, the dawn on the 19th. And in the Mayan calendar, it was around the day of the women's New Year in the Maya, within the Maya nation. It was just around that time. This vision was brought to me by a beautiful holy being that was floating, just gliding, came into the room, was wearing a beautiful, beautiful, very dark red robe. It had no head, it was just pure light. It had no hands, it was just pure light. And it had no feet, it was just gliding as it came into the room. The Holy One said to me, Flordemayo, and I sat on my bed in a lotus position, and then it said, I have a gift for you. And I extended my hands, and I received this huge brown earthen egg. And when I received the egg, it was so large that I started embracing it with two of my hands, and I started going into spontaneous prayer. And the prayer was and is, and it still is, it's one of my sacred prayers. The prayer said, you are love, there's nothing but love. Love is all that there is. And so I very vigorously went around the egg with both of my hands and started energizing this earthen egg. And before I knew it, I was out in the heavens, in my lotus position, sitting with the egg, embracing the egg and rubbing the egg with both of my hands, left and right, just saying, you are love, there's nothing but love. Love is all that there is, as quickly and as fast as I could. Before I knew it, the egg started to break away and all of the earthen particles started to fall down onto the earth. And it continued to do that as I prayed and as I shouted out into the universe. Then the inner lining of where the baby was, it was this crystal substance. And the crystal substance also started to do that. It started to fall out and fall down onto the earth. Before I knew it, I started to see this baby inside the egg. And I said to the beloved mother, I said, beloved mother, there is a baby in the egg. And all this time, of course, I'm having this dialogue with the beloved mother. And this baby, when I first saw it, it was exactly like this. It was just totally there from feet to head. And I started talking to the baby and saying, baby, look at how beautiful you are. And I started complimenting on the baby's little feet, little legs and little knees, the little dimples, and all of the beautiful little body on the baby. And then I said to the beloved mother, I said, beloved mother, the baby is androgynous. And I started to cry, and I started to continue with the mantra, you are love. There's nothing but love. Love is all that there is. And I said to the baby, I said, baby, you have such beautiful little fingers and beautiful little arms. Look at your tummy, baby. You are so beautiful. I have to mention to everybody that in the beginning, the original painting that Manush did, she did like a little hairline for the baby's belly button. But then I corrected Manush and I said, Manush, this is a cosmic baby, and cosmic babies do not have a belly button. So later on, she put a little spiral on the baby's belly button made out of gold. As I'm talking to the baby and saying to the baby how beautiful the baby is, the baby started responding to my voice. And at one point, the baby moved its little shoulder, and I was able to see this teeny weeny little golden wing on the baby. Yeah. And And I said to the beloved mother, I said, beloved mother, the baby has a golden wing on its shoulder. And before I knew it, I started to stare at the baby very carefully. And I started to cry. And I said, beloved mother, I said, the baby is golden. It's a golden baby, beloved mother. At that moment, I realized that the baby's skin, I could see the pink flesh over this beautiful, beautiful gold tone over the baby. And I looked at the baby's hair, and every little strand of hair was made out of pure gold. And I said to the baby, look at how beautiful you are with your golden hair. And the baby's little eyes at this moment started to move and to kind of bat around a little bit like a newborn baby where they move their little eyes. And before I knew it, the baby's eyes opened up. And when the baby's eyes opened up, I said to the beloved mother, I said, beloved mother, the baby, and I could not believe this, the baby's eyes had the cosmos and stars in the eyes. And if there any way to zoom on that, Sandy, on the baby's eyes, can you get a close up?
Oh,
Yeah.
I tried to do that.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry,
But there is the baby's eyes are midnight blue with little stars inside of it. And when I'm talking to the beloved mother and said, beloved mother, the baby has the cosmos in its eyes. And just as I said that, I came out of my body and went into the baby's eyes, and I started to journey throughout the cosmos, through the baby's eyes. And I did that for the rest of the night, and I came back into my body just as the daylight was coming. And I was in such a state of grace that from the moment where the sun rised about 6 o'clock in the morning until about maybe like 10 a.m. in the morning, I was just unable to physically do anything. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't walk, couldn't go for a shower. And we had, there was a conference that was going on, and I was running late. I was just in a state of grace, and I couldn't do anything other than to just be present with what had just happened in the past 12 hours in my room. So this is the beginning, the vision of the golden child, and this is the beginning of the temple. This was one of the first things that I brought into this octagonal little house. Its dimension is about 700 square feet. It's a pretty tiny little house. Here I am myself with my teacher doing a presentation for the grandmothers of the Council of 13. This was around 2012. So it's a few years after I received the painting of the Golden Child. You could go to the next shot, Sandy.
I wonder if so take us back to where you decided to take this land and transform it into a place for these sacred temples.
Okay, well, in the beginning, and it was about 2009. It was on January 2009 where I received a mandate from an invisible being. And the invisible being said to me, it awoke me in the middle of the night and said to me, Flordemayo. It called me 3 times, Flordemayo, until I had opened my eyes and I answered. And I said, yes, like that. And the voice said, you need to bring people to New Mexico. And of course, I'm still a human being. I went back and forth in this dialogue with this invisible voice. And I said, how am I going to bring people to New Mexico in my tiny little house? And I almost saw it like an impossible thing that I would invite folks to come to my little house. I'm married and my husband is very private, and I just couldn't see it. And as a human, I kept going back and forth. How am I going to do this? And of course, you know, it wasn't like I was complaining or anything, but I was just trying to figure out the direction of what I was being told. And then the voice came back. There was this huge pause. The voice came back and said, now. And I went into prayer. That was January 15th, January, February, March, April, May. 5 months later, on May 5th, the land right now, the 40 acres, became available. And how it became available, because prior to all of this, this land was purchased by my daughter Heather and her husband like 18 years ago, when they bought their little house here in Estancia, where their children were born and their children were being raised. The people that they bought this little house from said to them, you can't buy this house without this other piece of land. And so it was like a whole package. So my daughter took the little house. She lived there with her husband and children, but they took this 40 acres and they sold it on an owner's contract. And on May 3rd, this owner called me up at 6 o'clock in the morning and said, I'm leaving the land, please come down and get the keys. So it was returned to her like 17 years later. And this is how the land came about. So I went into the land and I advised my daughter, you know, maybe it could be cleaned up, maybe it could be sold, I don't know. But it wasn't until a month or so after that that I went into prayer and I started to see in other possibilities of the land, especially with the vision that I was given, the mandate of bringing people to New Mexico. So I had a conversation with the beloved mother, and I said, beloved mother, do you want me to bring the people here to this land, to New Mexico? And at that moment, there was nothing. It was just like still, it was silent. And I was outside on the little porch of the Hogan, and I felt a little sensation, like a little bit of sacred breath that kind of came into my face. And it gave me this affirmation. It touched me, and it almost felt like it kissed me. It almost felt like, mwah, something like that. It was so sweet. And so I said to the beloved mother, I said, beloved mother, I'm going to come back to the Hogan, and I'm going to come and vision. And so I did that the next time around when we had a full moon that month. And when I came to vision, I saw myself and my daughter walking through the gate at the center of the land of the 40 acres. And we split into 4 different people. So it was like 2 people in the 4 directions walking on the land. And we prayed together and we squatted and we prayed and we squatted. And what we were doing was putting our menstrual blood on the land. And so we blessed the land and blessed the 40 acres. And this was the vision that I received. And in speaking with my elders and my family, they told me that I had to make every effort to become the keeper of this property. At the moment, it was being held by the bank. So that was in August. No, I'm sorry, that was in May. May, June, July, and August. And on August 5th, my mother-in-law made the decision that she was going to buy the land from the bank outright. And she paid $64,000 for the property. And she went out, bought it outright, and she became the owner of the property, and when she passed away, she gifted it to Marshall and myself. So this is how the land came about, and it has been in the family now for quite some time, but this is the land, and I've been taking care of it since 2009.
Wow. And as we move through the presentation and we have so much to show you all, you'll get a really good glimpse of the land. So thank you for taking that time, because that's a story that's so powerful, and one that I had never heard before, and really does deepen our experience as we move forward.
Yeah, this is a picture of the Hogan, the way that it is right now. I brought the Hogan up to a place of, I guess, doing, redoing the electrical, the plumbing, everything that needed to be done. The little pyramid triangle on the top is a little belly button. It's a clear, see-through little triangle that's on top, that the sun comes into the little house. And like I said, the little house is about 700 square feet. We're just beginning to plant some trees around the little house. And at this moment, I had already extended the porch quite a bit out. The old porch became a larger porch. And so it's enough, as you can see, the little chair there to, to put maybe like 10 chairs on the porch. And the little sticks around the Hogan are called latias, and they use them here a lot to shade, but yet you can still get the sun through. So we still get the sun through the big windows there in the Hogan, but it's not so hot. So this is the upgrading of this little Hogan.
And let me just take a moment. Almost all of these pictures that you're looking at were photographed by Belinda Ariacho, I beg your pardon, a Guinea and Navajo medicine woman who we've actually hosted on one of our calls. So I wanted to pay her credit here.
Yeah, and this is in the altar. We have some of the donated corn that was given to us. The picture that is in the altar is an elder teacher of two of our seed keepers. He has now passed on. He is known as the corn elder, and his name was Carl Barnes, and he is responsible for bringing together for the rainbow corn. He spent many years, decades working with the corn, and so these are some sample of some different corns that are a donation of the seed temple.
Beautiful. And I love the, let's see, oops, let's see, just, oh, here we go. And this is your front door, but I found something really special about this picture. Is this
yes
right?
In the beginning, you can see, bring the other picture back, Sandy. In the beginning, you can see where the little Adirondack chair is, and that little brown little frame, that's about all the porch originally there was. You can see that it's pretty teeny weeny. And that's where I stood when I spoke to the beloved mother and said, beloved mother, is this where you want me to bring the people? Later on, when we were mixing cement and we were working on the property, we extended the porch, and I have two very dear puppies. And of course, you have cement, and then the puppies started walking on the cement. And so my husband said to me, if you got the puppy prints, you might as well step in the cement and put your prints in there. But my husband is responsible for putting those words in there and putting these little pieces of they're little pieces of clay pieces. They're already been fired. It's like New Mexico little pieces that he had. So there are my feet collecting water and the word remember. Yeah, that was, he did that. My husband, Marshall.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And here we are to our last.
Yeah, this is a sweet little angel that that I purchased in one of the Christian stores here in New Mexico. And when my friend Minush came to fix the belly button on the baby, I mentioned to Minush that I had this baby, and so she did an application of gold leaf. So the baby is covered in gold leaf. Yeah.
And that's the Temple of the Golden Child. And now we're moving
Yes.
on. And the story that's brought us this far. Thank you. And here we are at the Fire Temple, which you're quoted as saying the Fire Temple is honoring the conversation of the divine, in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so excavation on the grounds look like you've got some young people there. And I later read that you had volunteers from the American Indian Arts, the university or college there, and some of them came in.
Yes.
And,
yes. Many times I had gone to it's called IAIA here up in Santa Fe, and the youth had volunteered and come down to help us. And so here we're setting the fire temple. There were several reasons why this fire temple is underground. One of them was that we needed to remove a lot of the rubbish that had been left there by the previous people. And secondly, in New Mexico, we get a lot of very hard winds, and this land is very, very open. And so it kind of protects you if it's a little bit underground from the winds. And that's one of the reasons why it's like this. This is big enough to have about 40 people sit around it. That's how large it is. It's about 22 feet in diameter. And the fire pit itself, people can actually sit inside of it. If you can see how, this is myself and a dear colleague by the name of Patricia. We were doing ceremony for 12/21/12. This is like on December 21st. This is the Mayan going into the year zero, where we were celebrating the year zero. So this picture is taken just as the sun was rising. The changing of the time going into the year zero in New Mexico was at 4 o'clock in the morning. So we had been in there since 4 o'clock that morning with about 40 people that came from all over to support the vision. So this was our first fire was actually initiated by my teacher, Don Alejandro, which everybody saw the picture there before. And this actually here is like the second fire. This is the excavation, and it is the photograph is taken with special lenses that shows the energy, the light of the energy in the place. And so this is like the beginning of the prayer and the beginning of excavation here.
And I just realized this in the next picture are actually out of sync, but perhaps for some good reason. So is there a significance to the color? Because here we have this beautiful magenta, and here we have this stunning green alignment.
Yeah. The thing about it, Sandy, is that, these colors of magenta, colors of yellow and green like that, for me personally, the magenta is just, this pure, loving, adoring, loving energy. And the beautiful green and yellow like this is just perfect healing. And as you can see, by the looks of it. I have a ladder there. It's pretty deep. In the beginning, what happened was that people that had lived in this land prior to us living there, they had used this area as a place where they deposited basically a lot of garbage that was non-recyclable. They put in a lot of glass, broken things. There were just debris that they were either too lazy to take it to the dump, or they figured there's so much land there, why not dig a hole and bury it? There was also a lot of cans and things like that. So we carefully went in there and cleared it all out of anything that was garbage for about a year and a half. I prayed and prayed a lot. And this is one of the early photographs where the earth is responding and just being very, very grateful that we are healing it and bringing it back into a place of how should I say, of integrity at the moment. And the other magenta color could have been, that the earth in that moment was very stressed with all the garbage and all the debris that was in it, and that's pretty much the truth of it. Yeah. So this is very beautiful for people to see how the land reacts to garbage and how it reacts when we go in there and we try to clean it up.
This reminds me of a beautiful quote that Belinda, that I mentioned earlier on our previous call, had said, and I'm going to paraphrase. It's actually a quote, and I'll put it in the email to everybody listening. That until we see our Mother Earth as a living, thriving, alive being, she can never be healed. And here's a perfect demonstration of that. We have proof that she's happy and grateful. And when we just clean up this small, perhaps, I don't know, 20 square circle of this diameter, imagine when we do this for our entire planet, how we'll be baked in beautiful green.
Yeah, this is something to really be aware of and really take it into prayer and take it into into the heart, because when we think about like oil spills in the water and contaminants on the earth all over the place, all over the globe, when we think about soil that is so contaminated that nobody can farm it, all of these things, what we see is the earth like this exuding, these light forms that is just in dialogue with humanity, but humanity is not seeing. So thank you to Belinda and her special lens that she can take these photographs with this incredible story of what's going on the land. Yeah.
Really, really stunning. Thank you. Wow. And here's the end of our fire temple. Now brings us to the stone temple, the water temple, I beg your pardon, where you're quoted as saying the stones came to us with their personal messages. They form a stone family that is working in harmony with the earth and the heavens to transform all that visit the path. And I shared with you earlier, grandmother, that I had these images had a profound impact on me, and I'm looking forward to really meditating and finding out exactly why. And maybe we'll figure out now when you share with these stones that we're all going to be seeing here. We'll see the grander picture of them all together. But were these stones here? Did you bring them here?
No, there was nothing on the land. Everything was brought in. The only thing that was there was just a little house. This particular stone is a grandfather rock, and this stone was planted in the eastern southern side of the circle where the water temple is, and it was erected in such a way that I believe in my heart that it was not intentional, But what happened was when we erected this particular stone, um, the blue moon came, which I believe the blue moon comes like every 18 months. And so the moon came up, the blue moon came up, and it came right on top of this little stone on top of its little head. And we do have photographs of that. I'm not sure if it's in this collection, but we can share it later. Belinda, I believe, has a photograph of this.
I do have.
Um,
I believe it's here. We'll get to that, I think. Yeah.
okay. So and these are the rest of the feminine rocks around the grandmother rock. So these are the other ones that are just around the water temple. Yeah.
And here we are.
And so this is what it looks like. And the water temple, of course, is the circular rock, and she has water coming out and going through her. There is a little pond on the skirt of the rock, and this little pond that is in there, this is the little pond where every year we have an endangered species of little frogs that will come and lay their eggs. And for the past 3 years, I have been helping about 100 little frogs to be born in that little pond underneath the grandmother rock.
Oh my goodness.
So she serves as a watering place for all of the birds that are in the land, and any visitor, whether it's a coyote visiting or anything that's visiting. We have snakes, we have toads, we have different types of lizards that come and visit, and this is their little watering hole. This is where they come in and drink.
Oh, thank you. That makes such sense, and I'm seeing the relationship between the stone and the water now. Why this is not a stone temple, but a water temple.
Yes.
It's quite stunning. And now, would you explain the lines in the circle? And by the way, I did hear a comment. I hope everybody can hear me clearly. I'm going to do my best to speak up a little bit louder. And you also have a volume control on your computer or device as well. So I'll just take a second and respond to that, just so I don't speak too loud too. So I just want to explain why I'm talking up a little louder, speaking louder. Grandmother, can you explain what looks like a mandala?
Yes. This is it is not exactly called a mandala, but it is called. This is the beginning of it while it's being constructed. It was put together and designed by an elder who received the vision. His name is Marshall Jack, and the elder came down for a few weeks after we got the grandmother rock. The grandmother rock is about 3 tons, and she's about close to almost 5 feet tall. So you can imagine how big that rock is. And so the design is called a water flower design, and he was given this vision, and he is building these water temples all over the world. Yeah. And this is in the beginning, Don Alejandro in 2012, he is blessing the water that is coming out of the rock.
Beautiful.
And this is one of the photographs of a stormy, we get the monsoon here in New Mexico around August, and this is a double rainbow on the property that Belinda took a picture of.
Yes.
Yeah, you could see the double rainbow there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think this is the picture you were referring to earlier.
Yeah. And here is another image of the grandmother rock and the beauty of um, of other lights on it.
Okay. Beautiful. One thing I just realized that I forgot to mention early on is that grandmother loves your questions. So you have a chat window on the bottom of your screen, and you can send your questions over. And if we have time, we'll do our very best to get to them um, as we move on. Now, we'll wait until the end of the presentation because maybe your questions will be answered. Shall we move on then to the Sea Temple? Oh, let's take a
Oh, this is a very important photo. This is the dramatic sunsets in New Mexico in the desert. And one of the rocks is holding my personal ladder that it is my spirit way, my way of connecting with the heavens. I say to whoever comes down that this is my ladder, my personal ladder to the heavens. And so, of course, it has like 7 steps. This ladder, it's about maybe 7 feet tall, and people say to me, "My goodness, what step are you on?" And I always say, "I'm barely at the bottom of the step. I haven't even gotten up to the first step yet, so I have a long ways to go." So it's my personal ladder to the heavens. That's how I see it. Yeah.
such a stunning image too.
This is a Belinda photograph. She has beautiful photographs.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and now onto the Sea Temple. And if you would take a moment and explain as we go, perhaps throughout the journey together, share with us the importance of storing the seeds and keeping of the seeds. And let me start with reading your quote here. The Sea Temple came through a vision where the beloved mother showed me a picture of myself sitting in a rocking chair, making bundles and placing seeds on them. And on your website, it said that the purpose of the Sea Temple is to basically hold and restore the integrity of the seeds. You say that the need to recoup the the importance of I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over this, of maintaining the seeds in their integrity. And so I'm looking forward to um, going through this with everybody and for myself as well. So here we are back at the excavation.
Yes, this is the excavation. It's 9 feet underground, and the Sea Temple itself is about 10 feet across by 27 feet in length. That is the size of it. And this is the upstairs. Because we did an underground structure, we had to put an upstairs to it. In New Mexico, you couldn't just have an underground structure with a set of stairs to go into the basement. There was no such thing. Something very simple. I thought that I would, have something like a little root cellar. Turned into a huge undertaking, and also it was designed by an engineer and okayed by the planning and zoning here. The reason that there's not that many basements in the area where I am, because this beautiful, beautiful brown dirt that you see is pure clay, and it's known here as caliche. And what this does is that it swells when it rains, and the basement had to be carefully constructed. The cement blocks had to have metal rods put in with cement. Every other block had to be cemented and put rods put in, and the inspector came every 36 inches. So it was a long process to do this basement. New Mexico was very much against it, just because you know, they know, and you could see here the division of where the cement blocks are. We're kind of like in the middle of the stairs on our way down into the 9 feet underground at the moment. And so this is before we had the open house, and I'm showing dear friends, you know, the structure. Um,
My goodness.
they were just beginning to close the upstairs with this, yes.
I apologize. I didn't mean to speak over you. Yeah, I'm so glad that you shared that. That's why I wanted to move on to this picture because to know, having been involved in construction, I know how long it takes when you don't have to have an inspection every 36 inches, or did you say feet? And or to that degree, and how long it took. So really, the time and energy and intention to build this facility, it's quite profound, isn't it?
Yes, and the sweet beauty of it is that it got built in 9 months, which is a period of a human gestation. And it's 9 feet, 9 months, 9 feet underground. And what we have in there is living, breathing seeds. You know, this is food for the future generations.
Oh, and here we are with the
And
human.
this is the finished building.
Yeah.
It has a beautiful, you know, blue metal, kind of blue to match the blue skies in New Mexico. And the color of the adobe is the color of almost the outside. So when you come in and you see it, you know, it blends in very nicely with the design of the natural design of the area. And this is the inside. This is, um, uh, you know, I'm just beginning to decorate and put things into the inside of the building.
Mm.
This is the downstairs. We lined the whole downstairs with these metal racks where the seeds have been put for the past 5 years.
Now, I know that many of these pictures you've had for a while and they are to be updated, but perhaps we might see, is it possible to see images at a later date of this room filled with seeds?
Absolutely. I would encourage that we do this and bring the photographs up to date so people can see what the dramatic change that happened in 5 years. Absolutely.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah. And this is some of the seeds in the beginning that were being blessed by the Temple of the Golden Child, and we're taking them downstairs. Yeah. This is Grandmother Diana. She's one of our seed keepers, and she's talking to us from her memory, the information on these heritage seeds that were given to her by her teacher, Mr. Carl Barnes. And so we inherited a large inheritance of seeds here.
What I find so important here is that this is an expression of oral tradition being handed down from generation to generation, and such an
Yes.
element of the divine feminine, um, to storytell and to keep our stories alive, and in this case, keep our seeds healthy and integrity and pure, and all through oral tradition, literally.
Yes.
Yes, beautiful.
That's correct. And all of this is documented. It has been recorded, and also the information is also being put in computer for the future generations. And these are our three seed keepers. Grandmother Diana in the forefront. In the middle is Nancy Clem. Grandma Diana lives in Oklahoma. Nancy Clem lives in Chicago, and the man with the blue-white shirt is Greg Sean. He lives in Silver City in a Sufi community, and so he is doing the cataloging by hand and putting the information. This was the first batch of seeds that went into the basement. into the sea temple. In the belly of the mother, 9 feet under.
In 8 to 9 months. That's so poetic. It's really so powerful.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
On the website, there's actually a form to download where you accept seed donations. Would you speak a little bit about that in our remaining time together?
We're always looking for donations. We're always hurting. It's very, very difficult to to meet the expenses monthly and annually. I'm personally responsible for all of these obligations, and all of the money that is earned, the majority of it is actually to support all of the land and all of the things that we have here. Of course, the biggest expenses are the insurances and the taxes on the land, because when things are open to the public, you have to be very insured.
Right, right. And this is clearly a important and valuable, actually critical, um, project to make sure is sustained. So I appreciate that, and I'll be sending that also out in an email to everybody who's registered for the call. And that brings us to the end of our tour. Um, Let me just see here. We have a question, and the question comes from Trishula, and she asks, "Could you please speak about the importance of the water being present here in the desert and the grandmother stone, and how it will help in future times of no water?" I love you, Trishula.
Yeah, so sweet. Right now, the land is sitting on an aquifer, and so we have a lot of underground water, and this is where this water comes from. We have well water, what's recognized as well water, and when it was tested by the engineer's office in Albuquerque, they told us that the water was pristine. It is this beautiful, beautiful drinking water, and we certainly take care of it, and we pray to the water, and we try to protect it very much. But I wanted to share with everybody that I'm sure we have a lot of questions. If you can send it through email, my situation today is that I have another responsibility at this hour, and I really have to get going. But please send me all of your questions concerning today's presentation. I just want to say that I love you all, and I'm so happy to be doing this. Thank you, Sandy, for helping us and putting this together every 20 days. And, much blessings to everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And the divine timing as the Sea Temple, we're at the very top of our hour. It's 8:59 in California. So perfect time. Thank you. Have a blessed
Thank you so much. Thank you. And blessings to everybody. Much blessings. Bye-bye.
And happy
Thank you.
birthday, Maureen Mamo Hills. It's her birthday today. She wanted us to know. So I want to make sure.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.